a client was running a spa, and they had taken all the prior compliances, the mandatory requirements from the local municipal body. However, the police used to keep coming in and again and saying, shut this shop because we are apprehensive that you are running a brothel inside. And this is a neighborhood where the neighbors keep complaining and we have pressure from above. Please shut down this spa/brothel. The clients come to me, they say that we are running a completely legitimate business. We have we are not running any sort of illegal organization. And we do not even want to shut this down, neither do we want to bribe the cops. So the lawyer in this particular case, that is me, simply went to the Delhi High Court with a writ petition saying that I am being forced to shut down my shop. Police illegally come and informally tell me that I have to shut down this shop. That very first day itself, the judge says, all right, I am treating this matter because it becomes an embarrassment for the court, for the establishment.
You went in Article 32 writ?
No, 226 to the High Court. So we go to the High Court. The High Court says we'll treat this as a representation. And in fact, the judge asks me, and that's also another very relevant point that you all should remember as well, not just for criminal practice, but for any other practice. When you approach the High Court under a writ, you should always have addressed a representation to the relevant authority when you are seeking a writ of mandamus. Because if you don't, and that is one thing perhaps that I have not read in any commentary, I have not really read in any judgment.
What is a representation to a
So
relevant
a
authority?
representation is basically something that the court mandates. Before coming to the court, you must have addressed this communication, this representation, this letter, whatever you want to call it, something to apprise, to request the particular department against whom you are seeking the relief to actually take action on whatever grievance you have. So if you don't do that and you approach the court directly, I've seen a lot of cases where the judge says, all right, have you filed anything? If you've not, let me treat this as a representation, dispose it off. A lot of our cases, when I used to work for a prosecutor who used to represent these departments, so there is an allegation that the customs officers have acted with a far stricter hand than was required under the act. So the court asked, did you file any representation? They would say no, because we don't see any point. The judge would say, all right, we are treating this writ as a representation. You file your response or you dispose of this representation within 2 weeks. So that could also be a strategy by the lawyers. It's not necessary that they did not know about it. A lot of times lawyers know that there is no point in giving that representation because nobody will act on that representation. But it's a mere formality that the court also insists on. So a lot of times what lawyers do is they approach the court and tell the judge, all right, have it treated as a representation and dispose it off. So at least in the next 2 or 3 weeks, they will definitely file their reply or pass any order on that. And then I can again come back to the High Court for enforcement of this in situation. So even in my particular case, when the judge asked, why did you not file a representation? Did you give any communication? I said, no, I see no point in doing that because there is no formal act which is happening. It is all informal. And at the end of the day, even if I give it, there's no point. The judge again says, bhai chalo theek hai, we are going to treat this as a representation and the police will give their reply and give a finding on this aspect within 4 weeks. It has been 2 years now. The state has not filed any response or has not given any finding on that issue because it is very embarrassing for them. But on the other hand, the police have also stopped going to that spa and troubling that people at the spa. So that's one thing that a lawyer did very, very by the book kind of a way, which helped the client in getting over their police troubles. That's one great example, and in fact, it's one of my favorite cases because although it was quite simple, but it was one of those situations where as a lawyer, I was able to go to a constitutional court and get relief for someone who is facing excess and arbitrary action by an agency of the state.